What's up? We're back so soon. What happened?
Nothing.
We were saying, wow, you know what? We will be back as soon as we get another announcement. Well,
Just one.
just one. That's all.
And then another one.
And another one.
Another
one.
We're not going to do that.
Yeah, everyone gets it. Everyone gets it. Yep. Yeah, I know. Hey, everyone, how's it going? Welcome. Thank you for joining. Obviously, a lot to talk about. Well, it's really just kind of like one thing we're going to talk about. We don't really have to look for different subjects this week, I'll tell you that.
Yep.
But plenty of announcements to discuss. Obviously, the 5 we got this week, Monday through Friday, as well as recapping Slaughter Sinema again, just tie it all together. We have received all 6 originals for HHN Orlando. Hollywood, waiting on you guys. Just really
give us
waiting
dates,
on you.
like
Dates, something.
Tickets, like anything.
I don't think it's that long at this point. You know, I think we're talking just a few weeks, maybe
a
couple weeks.
Let Orlando have their fun.
Yeah,
I don't think it like.
No, I don't think it matters.
But well, I guess when we announce an IP, because they would want to do an IP first.
Yeah, I'm thinking early June, so just a couple weeks away.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys are feeling about that, but I don't think we got long for Hollywood. It's coming very shortly.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree.
Here we go. Yep. All's Hollywood is back. I've noticed every Instagram, TikTok, Twitter post we posted, like there's like, 60% to 70%, like, oh, this is amazing. I love it. And then the rest is like, but what about us in Hollywood?
So happy for you, but I'm not going out. I'm like, I'm sorry. Every time we post a TikTok, I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Again, I would expect it's coming pretty soon. I know that's tough to swallow when 6 have been announced for the opposite coast already. And when you get that first one, it's probably going to be Orlando again, too. So, it's coming. It's coming. And I do have to say, this is the first time in a while I'm actually curious what they're going to do with dates. I still expect it to be just a week after, but I know there's been some people who are more Hollywood in tune than I am who are expecting it to possibly be 2 weeks after. I'm not sure why.
Oh.
But it has me a little more actually curious about the ticket announcement that'll eventually come for Hollywood, if the dates will just be a week or if it's going to be a little different this year than it has been recently.
I mean, this whole announcement season has been different than it's been recently.
What do you mean? We don't get 6 original houses within 7 days of each other?
Before any IPs?
What?
What? No. That's not how it always works.
Never happened.
This is normal. I don't know.
So should we hop right into the announcements? Keep them in order. So we're going to start not with Slaughter Sinema again. We covered that last week, so we'll come back to that at the end. So we'll start with what we received this Monday at 10:33 a.m., just as everything else. And that is our good pal, Goblins Feast. And there are plenty of jokes to make. I know. Goblin blank. Goblin another blank.
Yeah.
Goblin's feet.
Goblin.
I saw one that doesn't make sense, but it was disgusting and kind of funny because of that. But no, we have Goblin's Feast here. The thing I've seen the most from this is that it's Wicked Growth-esque in its kind of font and colors and vibe, just from this key art.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You guys are getting that too a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, it's in that same like fantasy realm-ish, and they mentioned goblins and orcs. And what's the difference between a goblin and a hobgoblin?
I saw it explained.
Okay,
but I don't remember. There's something.
There's
something.
I
think at the end, like a goblin is what we picture goblins as, like the little green things, and a hobgoblin's like a different thing, kind of.
It's okay.
Yeah, that's all I remember about it. But there's goblins galore. Anyway, let's move on to what HHN said about this. In their tweet, they said, "Welcome to the Goblins Feast Tavern, and visit the Goblin Village, where a lavish feast is being prepared for goblins, orcs, hobgoblins, and witches. And you're the main course. Tickets on sale now." So yeah, I think the concept of it, like specifically where we're going with these goblins, sounds pretty fun. Going into like obviously Goblins Feast, into their feast, and being their meal. It's kind of a very HHN goofy thing that I typically tend to enjoy. It sounds like we're going to see a lot more than this tavern, though, because after that it says, and the Goblin Village. So you're probably a whole lot of places. I think I'm very excited for the tavern itself, though.
Yeah, I mean this whole description and key art really excites me. I'm kind of curious what direction they're gonna go with it, because I know some insiders, I think Legacy has straight up said like they're taking this seriously, but like when you have the tavern called Goblins Feast Tavern, like I don't know, it seems a little silly to me. So I'm still not sure what direction they're gonna take this. I kind of hope they take it in more, not like completely goofy, but more tongue-in-cheek, silly type of environment, because those are the houses that I tend to cling to the most. And I think if they went that direction, this would definitely be right up my alley.
I mean, this has to be somewhat campy at least, right?
It has to be.
It has to be.
I mean, I'm imagining. I see people have actually explained. Thank you for everyone.
I want to toss this up.
Who is hobos are taller. That is funny to me, actually. I know what you mean, Keith. But hobgoblins are taller and mischievous, so I think it'd be funny, like a juxtaposition of like, here's the goblins like houses and taverns, and here's the hobgoblins. So like, that'd be really cool. But like overall for me, that's why I let you two go first. I am not a sci-fi person and I'm not a fantasy person. Like I do dabble in some, obviously, in each genre, but like Wicked Growth is probably the best I'm gonna get in like this kind of a realm.
And that's not even super
and
fantasy.
It's not
This is full fantasy, it seems. And
yeah,
Wicked Growth had a few elements, but for the most part, you wouldn't consider it fantasy.
No, that was a Halloween house. That was like the aura. That's why I liked it. So like, I'm excited for this in the way that it will be most likely above most of the IPs on my hype list when we get there. But in all of these, it's 5 or 6 for sure on the hype list right now. It's not vibing for me. But again, this could be like my Dead Man's Pier, where I'm completely wrong. And I said that to people at trivia on Tuesday or on Wednesday. I was like, I might be wrong, but I'm gonna say.
I mean, every year we get at least one original that we're like, I don't know, like we'll see. And then last year for me, that was Blood Moon. And it was my number 2 overall. So, and I think most people kind of were on that Blood Moon train of like, well, we don't really know much, so I don't know.
Yeah, if this is like Blood Moon, I'll eat my words. I don't want to say I'm gonna be a goblin eater because that doesn't sound great. Like I was an angry eater.
You're gonna be gobbling these words.
I'm retired. I'm done with podcasting. I quit. I'm being harassed.
Chico Soul says, we chug and grog in the goblin line, and that brings me to exactly what I want out of this, is I want a food booth of the Goblin Tavern. And I want to be drinking grog.
A goblin grog.
Yeah,
it's got to be called that.
We said that exact thing in our group chat. I swear.
Did we?
In our group chat, like a personal one.
I know.
The 365 one, yeah. We said goblin grog.
We say so much.
I said goblin grog, I should say. But yeah, no, that's actually like really what I want out of this cool. Is a booth to the Goblins Tavern.
What if, and I know we all like Blinky cups, but what if we got like, just take the butterbeer mugs.
Yeah, exactly.
And slap it. Okay,
yeah.
That's
exactly what we do.
I don't remember that. Okay, when I'm at work, the group chat doesn't exist. I'm constantly going, huh? And if I did, I'm sorry. If we did talk about this, apologies.
Halls shares a concern with Mike. I bet it's going to be a stinky house.
I remember. Okay,
yes,
I do.
Now you remember, right?
Sorry.
If you don't remember or know, last year and in a previous year as well, Holidays in Hell was a house featured in Hollywood. And there was a scene where it had this very strong, like, Thanksgiving dinner smell, where like this like very fake, disgusting turkey smell came out.
And like gravy.
And it basically made Mike single-handedly hate the house, just that alone.
Yeah.
So he's very concerned about that in this house as well. And I think everyone saying that right now is warranted, just from what we're hearing about it. This big feast, eating humans. There's going to be food smells for sure.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Oh, maybe we'll see some of the Blood Moon bodies, like the cornucopia bodies reused.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That'd be kind of cool. Ooh. Okay, now let me think about this a little bit. It'd be really cool because I'm thinking more Renfest now, which is actually the most fantasy I get, is going to a Renfest and dressing up. So I could imagine, like, instead of turkey legs, they're human legs, and instead of club, like stuff like that. If it's campy, I'm in. I do anything camp. So Jonathan, I understand where you're getting with that.
Yeah, all right.
It's still 5 or 6.
I get that. I am curious where like the witches are gonna come into play here. Because it's like, a bunch of goblins and it's those types of creatures. Then it's like also witches. Like, what do they do? What are they doing in this world? I'm kind of curious about what their part in the story is.
Can you not have one without the other? Is that what they're insinuating here?
Impossible. Impossible.
Yeah, it's very and witches. What's an orc? Like, I don't know any of this.
Yeah, I'm not like I never played like World of Warcraft or any of those types of games, so I don't understand like this realm of fantasy or any real realm of fantasy, to be honest. It's not my genre. I just enjoy some of the stuff they put out at HHN, like Dueling Dragons, very fantasy.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. Personal attachment to the property, mainly why, but still.
Yeah.
So I'm not opposed to fantasy by any means. It's just I don't know a lot. I know what a goblin is.
Yeah,
that's about it from what's listed here. Yeah, no, I know what a witch is, I guess. So
angry pig guy is an orc.
Angry pig.
That's what I'm getting. And then orcs are the bad guys of Lord of the Rings.
So
that
is like orc. I was gonna say like Lord of the Rings. Those little
I'm
things.
Okay. We all know I haven't seen any movies, and
Stephanie says Goblins Feast gives me Blood Moon vibes. I don't know why. And Stephanie's not the first one. I've seen several mentions of that already. Oh man, I'm gonna be honest. I took it as more of like, again, Wicked Growth vibes. I expect it to be a bit tighter. A few show scenes will open up, but not. I don't have the expectation of this like vast, massive scale house. It could be.
Where is this? Where was this? I had the spec map up for this exact reason. Wait, was it even insinuated on here?
So Horror Night Nightmares straight up said that the black and white rumor was related to goblins. So I guess wherever the black and white house is on that
tent
map,
2. That would be tent 2.
But they also said it could be related to something else. But most insiders were on the train that goblins was black and white. So wherever it says there.
So that would be tent 2.
Tent 2.
So that's Oddfellow last year?
Yep.
I mean, I'm looking at it, but I always get it confused. So, all right. That makes sense then. The smaller tents, tighter spaces. Yeah, I am fully. Obviously, we can't like crouch down like some other haunts that like I know at Knott's didn't we like crouch down or something at one point in like the first year of the gun house. Oh my god, I can't think. Bloodline.
Yeah,
we had to crouch a little bit, but like we can't do that here. But like as tight as they can make it for a wheelchair, like and for a height requirement for certain doorways and like hallways would be cool.
I think. Yeah, I think that's kind of more where they're. What I expect it to be.
Yeah.
Here you go. Got a great one for you, Jess. It should be goblins riding dinos, just so it's so far outside of Jess's interest.
I would be so happy for people like Duff and Jonathan. And like they have their thing.
I don't think I'd be happy for that.
I don't know.
That'd be something. I don't know if I'd be down.
It's so far out of my. So and like
if they did dinosaurs and they put fucking goblins on them, that really ruins them making a dinosaur.
All I can imagine is like the blow up Halloween costumes, and it's a goblin wearing a dinosaur.
See, I would like that. That'd be funny.
That's so up Jonathan's alley right there.
Oh, that's great. That's perfect.
But in the Venn diagram of like, how like you and I, we both love like a gothic graveyard house. That's where our Venn diagram. Jonathan and I love like a stupid thing. Mike and I are like the theater. Like you and Jonathan's Venn diagram is like dinosaurs and like fucking other shit up here. Or like you, Jonathan, and Mike, that's where you guys kind of all meet is like that kind of movie. Yeah. And I'm over there with Beetlejuice.
All right. So let's, for now, I'm sure we'll get back to every house at some point. We're going to move on to what we got on Tuesday. And I think people are very excited on Monday because they didn't expect it. But I think on Tuesday, people were very excited for what it was. Major Sweets Candy Factory. So if you don't remember or did not experience it, at HHN 31, we did have Sweet Revenge, which was a scare zone, basically hosted by Major Sweets and Miss Treats. And now coming back as a house, getting another scare zone sequel to House Pipeline. And it's something I like a lot. Obviously gave us Dead Man's Pier very recently. Saws and Steam back in the day also came out to be a phenomenal house based off a scare zone. It has a pretty good track record when they take this path, and I think this is one of those properties that lines up pretty well and should really fit that house kind of formula.
Yeah.
Especially going to the factory. I think that's a really cool concept. And I don't know if you can see it, but if you haven't noticed, if you look like just above the E and T and suites, you can actually get a glimpse of that factory.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
I saw all of these very quickly on my phone at work. Oh, wow. Huh. I do think it's interesting. Obviously, we're going to read the little sentence we got. So I guess we should do that first.
Let's do that right now.
Because what
Before
I have
we
to
really
think
hop into this
goes into that.
So officially, HHN said you've been invited to chaperone a field trip to a candy factory. The deadly, delicious treats turn the kids into sugar-fueled fiends. That's it.
We're chaperoning. That's so interesting to me because that makes us part of it. Like we're not just walking through the environment. We're, I guess, somehow living in it. I don't know how that works, but within reason. But for me, this is exciting because it sounds like it's almost a direct prequel, not a while before, because this is like literally where we got to like D-Day, where we were in the chaos of it all.
Yeah.
And like, so that kind of, I almost wish we got this when we had the zone, because how fucking cool would that have been, part 1 and 2? Yeah. But like, I'm not upset with this at all. I love a prequel house. And I thought that Suites was a really good zone in a couple of years where zones have not been great.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I think we have a lot of Discord members here because we're getting a lot of Wario.
Oh my god!
I don't understand.
It's because he kind of looks like Wario, so everyone goes wah. And he also, he did. I don't know if you remember, but like he'd go wah before he talked. He'd like make a wah noise. So he's very Wario.
Oh
so
yeah,
the Discord server basically just he's Wario.
He basically is, and
yeah. So how are you guys feeling about Sweet Revenge making its return now as a house?
I mean, I'm excited. This one is very high on my original hype list. I was kind of worried when this was rumored. I'm like, are we just sort of gonna get, a similar type thing? But like, I really like the factory angle. I think that's a really good angle to take. There's so many cool sets you can use from that. So many cool effects showing how the candy is made. Make like sort of a demented Willy Wonka. I think they could do that really, really well. And it happens to line up perfectly with the awful Glasgow experience. So that's kind of funny in retrospect. But I'm really excited. This was a character that resonated with a lot of people. A lot of people connected with it. A lot of people connected with the zone. And while it is like pretty early to just turn it straight into a zone, I'm straight into a house. I'm all for it, and I'm very excited.
Yep, definitely. I think it's not going to be my most hyped original. But it's definitely in that top tier of originals for sure. It's so easy when you know something and you enjoyed that something. And again, I think it's kind of one of those things that's just going to translate the story so well into a house setting. I think the candy factory idea is just a great way to take it. It's kind of the obvious choice, so go for it.
Yeah,
easy home run, right? Again, this is another house where it's going to be campy, it's going to be goofy, it's going to be fun. But I also expect a nice little touch of gore to this as well, which always fits in very well with those types of houses.
Yeah. And I've seen comments here, vintage Halloween vibes, like we'll get to see that again. And I am always into that, and it always fits at HHN. So I'm very excited about that. I'm also excited because this means that we will have plus size scare actors for major suites. Hopefully. I mean, they all were, I believe. They might have padded them up a little bit, but they all were plus size actors. And then Miss Treat's a person of color. So we get diverse casting already in, I don't want to use the term icon, but in the leads of the house, which is always nice.
Yeah, it's always a nice touch, especially when for years that was a major concern. We always had casting. It's like, are you really doing enough here? Or are you casting one thing?
Yeah. Does this logo insinuate that that's like a neon sign under him? Because that would be really cool. I
hope so.
It looks like
it kind of looks like one. Yeah. I don't know.
Also, why are they doing the drippy thing again? I understand, but it brings me back to the logo on the sleeve from last year. I'm sorry.
So kind of two back-to-back comments that I did want to bring up about getting this property again. I want to try the candy they're feeding the kids, and then also can't wait to see what treats they come up with, because obviously they are going to have specialty treats to go along with this.
A booth.
A booth would be nice.
I hope.
In the tribute store, who knows, somewhere they will have treats to go with this property. And I think, again, that's one of those fun things that you could specifically with this property just flesh out even further.
Yeah.
It just has so much you can work with.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I will be spending my money very unwisely. Thank you, Major Sweets.
It's such a simple. Okay, a lot of these names this year, we're probably going to keep getting into that, but the names of these houses are very I feel like we got them in like the very early idea mode, and the name never developed.
Yeah.
And that maybe that's a knock, but it feels like this is what it is.
Yeah, you're not
We're
wrong.
not getting Dead Man's Pier. Like it's not giving us a vibe. It's giving us this.
And I think we're going to get into that even more with the next couple we're going to go over more than anything. I do hate sweets. You're right, Mary. But I like specialty treats. It's different. Anyways, let's go into the announcement that we got on Wednesday, which was the museum deadly exhibits, which I am very, very, very excited for. It's a concept that, even though we don't know a lot about yet, there's so many great directions you can go with it. I mean, everyone said it. Night at the Museum goes horror. I'm into museums. I'm into, especially when it's kind of going to be more historical exhibits, I would assume. It's something that I will be very into, very excited for. But before we dive further into it, we should probably read what HHN had to say about it. You decide to visit the new Folklore Museum exhibit, The Rotting Stone. The Rotting? Yeah. The Rotting Stone, when an evil escapes from within, destroying everything in its path. Tickets now on sale.
It's ticks.
Ticks. That's what? Chad?
The character limit. I don't know.
Oh, come on.
I don't know if that's actually the reason.
Probably not. I think they just think it sounds cool. They're hip. So again, it doesn't give you too much outside of the Rotting Stone is what's bringing these exhibits to life.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's exciting. It's a really cool concept. I'm very excited for it. They can do a lot with this, depending on what exhibits they have, and they can even dive into artwork and stuff like that, and make that horror come alive. Like they have a lot they could do with this. It's hard to get super hyped yet because we really don't know much about this. Like the other type of things, like, okay, I get a sort of idea of where they're going with this. This one's a little more like you got to think a little bit more. You got to get a little creative to really have an idea of where they're going to go. But I'm excited. I think this is going to be a really fun one.
You say it's tough to get excited for yet, but like,
What?
I don't know.
I'm with Emily.
Yeah, I'm with Emily here. I'm pretty excited. Oh no, I don't know. We also have a few wants that people want out of this. Halls. I wonder if they'll have exhibits on past icons for this house. That would be going a pretty crazy direction that I wouldn't expect. However, like an icon museum, it's kind of fun. I like that.
That'd be a good anniversary house.
That would.
Like here's an HHN, kind of like how they did the warehouse one for 20.
That would be cool.
But like this is a museum. All right, we'll dive into that in a couple years.
The Hunt line. I hope we see Emotep.
I expect some mummies. I guess.
I think some mummy action might happen.
Yeah, I think like for this, it insinuates because they don't give us anything except it's a folklore museum. So like, museums have different exhibits with different themes. This does not pigeonhole them into one thing.
No,
this can be Italian, Greek, Egypt, like everything in wherever a big we might get dinosaurs. That would
Yeah,
I will allow a dino,
a big dino skull puppet head thing.
That would be fucking cool.
Again, like the big head puppets, but it's like a T-Rex skull or something.
All right, I was already into this house.
That'd be so.
I take back all the dino slander I said moments ago.
The sets for this house will be so cool. That's exactly what I'm expecting. I think, like diving into these exhibits, it's an excuse for you to get like a new world every room or every couple rooms without it just being some random mashup house.
Yep.
So I think that's always fun when you could get that to work out, when it really makes sense why you're seeing all these different locations and things that really shouldn't mesh together. But in a museum, it works. It makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I expect to see a lot of just like really well done sets that show off their one opportunity with that specific aesthetic. So
yeah, I do like the idea of paintings coming to life in like an art. Someone said that in the comments, so I think that's really cool.
We need a Ben Stiller lookalike.
Oh, that would be so cool.
It'd be fantastic.
Was this the one you're referring to, Jess?
No, it was.
But also paintings.
Hannah said paintings coming to life would be cool. Sorry, also Robbie. Yeah, that would be really cool.
Oh, here's a fun concept from Keith. Is the rotting stone what is also turning the archways into a monster thingy?
Oh,
Maybe.
I don't know if that's the case, but that's pretty fun.
that could be cool.
That's pretty fun.
I don't know. Also, okay, am I the only one? I might be exposing myself. The rotting stone, I thought they were doing like a really dumb pun on the Rolling Stone.
Oh, yeah, that's why when I was reading it, it's a little small. I was like, the rotting? That's not rolling, right?
I rolled my eyes. Like, it's so hard when I read it the first time.
The Rolling Stone.
I was like, that's silly, but it's funny.
Cool House, just one question. What is this evil that was unleashed? Well, that we don't actually know yet. I'd assume bringing the creatures to life and having them want to murder you, basically. That's what I'd guess.
Or maybe they come to life and they are just what they were in their lives.
I mean, that'd be cool too.
A dinosaur is still just attacking us because he's a dinosaur.
Yeah.
That is true.
I don't know. I wouldn't expect a dinosaur that. Yes. Yeah.
Need the cool. Neanderthal action. I like that.
That's a tongue twister.
Zombie Minotaur.
Ooh, that's
fantastic. Where the first spec map Minotaur would have come in.
Oh, hey, there you go.
Also, they could just take, I don't assume it's still lying around from 27, but the Bastion costume from Coven, from American Horror Story, is like almost a Minotaur.
Oh,
so
that's right.
They have it.
It's there. Just do it up a bit.
Big, tall people.
Keith hopes this is the museum from Case Files.
I've seen a lot of that online.
I know, yeah. I mean, people kind of want any excuse to bring Boris back, right? So
I get it.
And things like this, you can fit it in. Like, it could work. Again,
it could.
Probably not, because they would flaunt that. They'd be like, hey, look, Boris is back.
Yeah, he would have been the one looking underneath Universal.
He'd be on the key art.
Yeah.
He'd be in the description.
Yeah, and they said that this museum is, in particular, a folklore museum, while the one in Case Files was, I think, a natural history museum.
So. Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, but it's a cool theory, for sure.
What's at a folklore museum? Now I feel like I gotta look that up. Also, on the second version of the spec map, this is intent 1, which is where Slaughter Sinema was original. Not on the map, but I'm saying the first Slaughter Sinema. And I know that there was a lot of talk about wanting that back in its original spot. So think interesting. Because that on the map is tent 3, one of the new tents. So
I will say, usually this early in spec maps, their locations are quite a bit off. So
yeah,
I expect a lot of movement, to be fair. The potential gives this sleeper #1 vibes all around. I'm happy you say that, but for me, this isn't a sleeper. This is like 1 or 2 on my hype for originals for sure. Like, without a doubt. Yeah. We aren't going to do our hype list today. We save those for when we have everything, but to give out hints, this will be high on mine for sure.
You guys want to know what folklore museums specifically are known to have? Historical objects that were part of everyday life for local people.
Ooh.
But also, I guess it could also be different areas. But I'm like, even if it was like an Egyptian area, a Roman area, like that would be objects for their daily life, but also like hunting tools.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Ceramics, furniture, clothes, tools. They also cover life in there and have a lot of models of what lives used to be like. So I do imagine they're going to be.
So you're like fully going to
night at the museum, coming to life, like how the caveman came to life in that movie. That's going to be terrifying.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Especially because like there's going to be a lot of mannequins in this house, I'm assuming,
Oh,
and a lot of fake
there
outs.
has to be. There
Oh.
has to be.
I agree 100% with the sleeper. Yeah.
So would you guys have this pretty high naturally, you'd say,
100%.
as far as hype goes?
I don't know if it's one, but it's up there.
For me, it's like in the middle, I think. Like in the middle of, I guess, these originals, like in the middle or like 4, somewhere around there. I haven't really like done it yet completely. I'm still really excited for this, and I do think this is one that like has the potential to go to the event. It's like, oh, number 1. You know, I think it has that potential here.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, to be fair, I could say that about any of the originals, right? Like,
yeah,
some
really.
of them I'm looking at like, yeah, I don't know, and then suddenly I see it, and it's like, wow, greatest thing
Yeah.
I've ever seen. Look at that.
Also, there absolutely was a Minotaur and Oddfellow last year, but I, as these two would know, ran past that boo hole every night because he would kill me. So I did not act like he existed in his tutu. I'm so sorry, Minotaur.
It's true.
So yeah, the costume is literally lying around.
So how about we hop over to Thursday's announcement?
Let's
where
do it.
we are getting something a bit familiar in Monstruos, the Monsters of Latin America, which was a house featured at HHN Hollywood last year. I think we all at least enjoyed it quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
At one point in time, it was my number 1, and then Chucky jumped it after I thought about it. It could go back, but regardless,
it is my number 1 from last
we are
year.
getting what was a house that we all enjoyed a lot, and seeing what Orlando can do with it. So real quick, let's hop on over to the description for HHN. They say, and I think I looked this up, and it's literally the same exact description they gave for the Hollywood house, which is a tad lazy, but whatever. Here we go. Oh, I have something blocking it. I can't read it. Oh, crap. Oh, no.
It's a comment. Hide the current comment.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, look at that. With La Muerte as your guide, you'll be begging for piedad from these 3 terrifying legends, Tlahuelpuchi, La Lechuza, and El Silbón. Tickets now on sale. Yeah, so we've kind of heard this rumor for a long time. We expect this to come. The question was, is this going to be the same legends? Is it going to be more? Is it going to be completely different ones? It is the same 3 featured from last year's house. And that is the one thing that kind of shocks me about this.
Yeah.
Like, we hadn't done a Hollywood original before. Getting it makes sense. Doing the exact same legends, I'm a little surprised.
Yeah.
Shocked, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, even the guide is the same. You know, like the whole description is basically the same thing. Like, even if they were going to take these monsters, like I would imagine Orlando would have wanted like a different framing device almost, but it kind of looks like we're getting, I'm sure we might have different settings and stuff, but it looks like we're getting the same narrator, you know, the same type, maybe the same type of story. I agree. I was shocked when this came out because I was not expecting it to just be the same thing conceptually. Yeah. It's probably going to be very different, like in the house itself, but conceptually, it's what Hollywood's was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and obviously it's gonna be different. It's Orlando. The budget's bigger. Like we know the whole event is bigger over here. So I am excited because this is my number 1 from last year in Hollywood. Not my number 1 on the West Coast, but my number 1 in Hollywood. So I'm excited to see Orlando's version. It's gonna definitely be the better version. I have no doubt.
Whoa,
I have no
100%.
doubt in my mind because as much as I loved that house, it was not the scariest for me.
Really?
Yeah, no, I remember like getting scared, but I remember loving it more, like scenically and character design wise more than anything. And just I really loved Muerte. Like I'm happy that he is still in the house because I thought that was so fun the first time we walked through, and like at the end it was in the grave like that.
Yeah,
it's so silly, but it was just tied up in a pretty little bow, and then it was like, well, and now you're dead, so cool. All right. So I love when we have to face our own mortality, and I'm excited to see how we do it. I also am excited to see more of a divide between Tlahuelpuchi and La Lechuza because even for me, loving the house, I don't remember Tlahuelpuchi. I remember La Lechuza in the whole house. I don't remember the other one, and that sucks. And also, every time we went through it, we were missing at least 2 of those actresses.
Yeah,
and I know that we'll make it easier for the cast change over here. So I'm excited to see it and how different we do the animatronics, the scares, the kills, like the spine rip. Are we going to do it like an Orlando style spine rip and not a Hollywood one?
Yeah.
Because theirs is kind of cheap. I don't like it very much.
Yeah.
And El Silbon's whole thing is that he that's his thing.
That's it. Putting it in his big sack.
Yep.
I am excited to dive right
back in his sack.
Silbon's sack. We need a shirt that says I dove into El Silbon's sack and survived in the HHN blood drip. I think that's what we're missing in the market. I don't know. You guys can tell us, but
would you buy a shirt?
I don't. And if you haven't seen the Hollywood walkthrough, didn't go, like, there is literally a part where you go into the sack and there's a bunch of El Silbons just popping out. So
yeah.
And if you haven't, go watch John Murdy's Midsummer Scream panel for last year where they announced this. He went into a lot of detail, very, very detailed about all three of these legends, about the house, the stories, and he does directly say big sack for El Silbon. So it became quite the thing for the season. But yeah, for me, I think the biggest thing is kind of where you were going earlier, which is I need more of a not even divide. I need more fleshed out scenes for each of them. I think El Silbon kind of had his scenes very, very like, these are his, right? I understood where that cut was.
Oh, what's it called? The Pulqueria?
Pulqueria?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. So like, I want to see them all three get fully fleshed out sections. Because I think that was the only thing really bringing that house back, because it felt like we were rushing through too much, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, you go from Tlahuelpuchi to La Lechuza like that.
Yeah.
Like you don't realize it happened until you come across La Lechuza later, like in like a room and a half later. It's like, oh, that was, I see.
Oh, shit.
There was like no real transition or understanding of what was happening. I didn't get enough of the stories. So I think if this is like it's rumored in a soundstage, we're going to get bigger sets, grander scale, and more room to really just kind of build out those stories more and give us more and make it obvious where you are, and let everyone shine rather than just kind of like, honestly, Tlahuelpuchi got kind of screwed.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
La Lechuza got that nice animatronic. El Silbon felt like he had half the house and a lot of big scenes. Tlahuelpuchi was just kind of dark hallways and babies crying.
I legitimately don't remember. Like I do, but I don't. I keep thinking it's La Lechuza's part. So I am so excited though. I do think we're probably gonna get not one singular setting, but maybe like one village, and they're all kind of attacking it, because that sounds more of like an Orlando take to me. Instead of how we kept kind of jumping, and we didn't really have even places that we kind of lived except for in El Silbon's over in Hollywood. The other two were just kind of hallways and rooms with bassinets for babies, and I don't remember. I'm sorry. I've watched the walkthrough like 4 times this week too, but I've watched a lot of like if it's a sequel or something that's been done before. I've been showing Eugene Slaughter Cinema like every other day because I know that's going to be his favorite.
As you should.
I'm like, you need to be educated. But yeah, I see it happening in one village, like a generic Central American village. Insert these 3 monsters, and like he's in the bar. Yeah, they're in the house, in the whatever. That's exciting.
They've all arrived to this one village. Wow.
And
what are the chances?
I don't know. Do you guys think we're gonna get any original merch like for the houses, because they're leaning into them so heavy this year?
I mean, I think we're gonna get the original shirt
with all of them.
And maybe like 1 or 2 will get something extra, but yeah, I don't expect like a full line, unfortunately. As much as I'd like it, I don't expect it.
It's like a horror ink booth.
Let's get into some of the comments here. John agrees with you, Jess. Can't wait for the superior version of Monstruos.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually agree with this too. Mary, wish their logo was more similar to Hollywood's last year. I agree. The green and yellow, we're not really doing it for me as much. Last year's was actually, I think I have. Hold on. Well, look at that.
Oh, I love that.
Look at that art.
Oh yeah, and just one, it looks better too. If you didn't know, the characters on the top right, you have Tlahuelpuchi. Top left, La Lechuza. Bottom left. Wait, hold on. Yeah. Bottom. I was just making sure we were seeing it the same way. Bottom left, El Silbon, and bottom right is La Muerte.
It's like, there's no way you got Silbon and Muerte.
No. I was just like, wait, is this how they see it? Oh no.
Oh
no.
No, I agree. The one we have this year is giving very like clip art, or like when you would make a PowerPoint back in the day for school, and you wanted to pick like a fun font.
Yeah, this is here again. Take one last look at this. Hollywood's last year.
I miss you.
Beautiful key art. It's a little. It's too like almost campy, like some B horror film kind of. I don't know.
It's giving the old monster posters.
Honestly, very Frankenstein-y.
It's also like the ones in the zone. The ones in the zone from last year, where because they did the zombie posters, or weren't they like undead zombie? Like each like little vignette had like a movie poster in the zone
for like the
outside of Monstruos.
Oh yeah.
It's giving that.
Yeah, it is.
Whatever it was like
which were beef horror. Yeah.
So.
Yay.
Also, could this maybe be hinting at where the setting's at? Like we said, Brazil. Those are like the Brazilian flag colors.
Yeah.
That's a reach, but
a little bit. Let's move on to a comment from Robbie. Do we think this was the one that got replaced, the loss of the 5th IP? So they're just taking stuff from Hollywood to give us a good house rather than a Hellblock horror. To be completely honest, I don't think there was a lost IP. I think like any year, there's a list of IPs they want. They are going to go after more IPs than they're ever going to get. For whatever reason, those things don't work out. And they've known for a long time that they were going to have only 4 IPs. So I don't think this or any of the originals we're going to discuss today, and the last one is going to be talked about a lot in that light and already has been, but is not an IP replacement. We just have 6 originals this year, and they've known that for a long time at this point, I believe.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And Paul says, I wonder if this means Hollywood will get an Orlando original this year.
Well,
oh yeah, please go ahead.
I have a feeling you might be going the same way I'm going.
I think we are. Go ahead, Jonathan.
But I don't know where the rumors stemmed from. But everyone has started talking about Hollywood possibly getting Dead Exposure now. I know that Dead Exposure was rumored for 2020 until 2020 got canceled.
Could that be the Quonset hut?
Yeah, I mean that's what people are thinking it might be.
I hate that we know that.
What do they call it? They're saying Dead Exposure D-Day.
That's what they're saying. I don't know about.
It's very specific too for some reason. I don't know where it's sprouting from.
Is it coming from like one person and the spec map meeting in the middle?
Don't know.
Because that's what it sounds like to me. I really hate that. The radioactive house. I'm not calling it a Quonset hut anymore. That word makes me mad. That could be this. Why?
It could just be people, and it really just seems it stems from people sort of just guessing based on clues and locations, and it could not be Dead Exposure. It could just be like, hey, we guessed some things and maybe it's this, and everyone sort of clung on to it. So it very well could not be that. But I was supposed to get Dead Exposure that long ago and didn't get it. I've kind of been like, man, I kind of want to see what they do with that. So if we ended up getting it,
that could also be why, because it's literally been mentioned that it's something they wanted to do.
Yeah,
exactly.
So maybe that everyone's trying to kind of force that. I don't know. A lot of people are just suddenly saying it. I don't know.
They could do it though.
When it happened, they could. It's just so interesting. Like D-Day specifically.
Also, that goes completely against the story of Dead Exposure too. It's a zombie outbreak we had Patient Zero. We've already had the prequel.
Well, I'm saying they would just do regular Dead Exposure, but
with a bomb. Or whatever, D-Day.
Well, I mean, that's basically what it was. It wasn't necessarily. But it's a zombie outbreak. You were in the trenches and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, they could literally just be taking the original and calling it D-Day now and doing the same thing. But
I mean, that's fine.
They could not be doing it all either.
Yeah, that's also a possibility.
If someone would have told you that Hollywood was going to do a version of your favorite original, or one of your favorite originals from that long ago, would you believe them in 2024? Back then.
No.
Yeah.
No. If you had asked me back then, I wasn't going to be sure if Hollywood lasts this long.
That's actually valid. Never mind. Good point.
Think about it. That was their 3rd year back at that point, and then they had a nice little cycle of coming back for a few years and then dying. Coming back for a few years, dying. So I don't know. If you asked me back then, I'm like, we'll be here. Hannah, is the panel on YouTube? Yes, it is. Just look up 2023's HHN Hollywood Midsummer Screen Panel, and it's basically all about Monstruos.
Yeah.
And again, very, very, very good. I recommend everyone go watch it.
Murdy's a great presenter and talker.
Yeah.
As much as we give him shit, he's good. Give him his flowers.
Ooh. Interesting. Arkham, I wonder what Hollywood has in store for the speculated South American house.
I was thinking about this. I don't know if I want to see them both in the same year. I don't know how you guys feel, but that's my like genuine reaction.
Yeah. I mean, if it goes a far enough off direction from Monstruos, I'm fine with it. Because like for me, La Llorona and Monstruos, well, aesthetically being kind of similar, were far enough apart that if the coast had them, I wouldn't mind. I would also never mind having La Llorona. Like Hollywood's best house by far.
It's so good.
A top haunt for me. Very high up on that list for me anywhere. Like, love it. But yeah, I think as long as they're different enough, I'd be okay with it.
Yeah. It's just that we saw it. Like I'm saying, like if Hollywood brings back Monstruos the same house from last year, I would be so
I would
so
not
disappointed.
like that. Yeah.
But I would be like, oh. If they did 3 new monsters, I'd be like, oh. But right now I'm My genuine thought is, oh no.
Yeah. I guess we haven't fully talked about exactly what we expect or how we're feeling about this house. Does anyone want to start us off with their feelings on Monstruos in Orlando?
Oh, I'm fucking excited.
Oh, okay.
This is like, I keep saying, like, it's up there. If whatever the Goblins is down here, Monstruos is still up here because this is gonna be the better version, like 100%.
Yeah.
For me, I'm still very excited because, like we've said, I kind of think without a doubt this is going to be better than Hollywood's. Like, if it isn't, that would be surprising. I loved Hollywood's, but I just think Orlando's, like, if it isn't a soundstage, the space it can do, maybe giving each monster more time to shine, the sets, like, will probably all be improved, especially compared to the Parisian Courtyard location, which is very limiting. So I think it will be a lot better. I think I'll be, very excited walking in and seeing how Orlando will do it, hopefully better than Hollywood's. But it's a thing that we have already seen before. And while I did like the house a lot, I really did enjoy it. I don't know if I needed to see this like come back. I was like, oh, I'm happy I saw it that year, but it wasn't like one that I'm like, yeah, I want to see this, multiple years. So while I do think it will have improvements of probably every way, it's going to be low on my height just because it's something I have a general idea of where they're going to go. But I also think that like little bias can be wiped away immediately once I enter the house. So that's just a purely hypeless thing, but I'm still very excited for it at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's surprising that I think I'm on the same exact thought process as Jonathan here, where like for hype, it'll be lower just because I've seen the concept executed as like same thing, same exact thing. I expect Orlando to do it very different. I expect it to be really good. It could be the best house of the year. Like, I think this has potential to have amazing sets, phenomenal scares, great story. But because I've seen this concept done as is, I'm just going to be lower on hype. But like, let's say I put it 9. It's not practically that low, but if I put it 9 on my hype list, I'm going to expect it to finish at least in the top 5 of my actual rankings. You know what I mean? Yeah. Hype and expectations are just such different things for me.
That's fair.
So it being a little bit lower, it doesn't mean much. I still think this house is going to be phenomenal.
Completely agree.
The hunt line, the hanging guts, not enough of a transition. You're right. You got me. That really did the trick. I was sold.
What about the 2-story mausoleum?
They better have that.
Doesn't it excite you?
Are we gonna get it?
No, I don't. My idea is because that
4-story.
Calm down there. That's just a wall. Those cemeteries where everybody's just in the wall stacked up. That's that. No, what I think it's gonna be is I don't think we're going in a. I mean, it'd be fucking cool if we were. But I don't think we're going in that. I think we're going to enter a village. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be through a mausoleum.
Yeah.
That would be a fucking cool, like, portal, though, to the village.
That would be.
Yeah.
All right. I'll accept either way. But I was thinking like a blood moon kind of like an entrance, like into a village. Cool. Wouldn't it be cool if you could see the monsters, like, attacking each other, like, attacking through, like blood moon?
Oh,
how you stalk through the house?
Yeah. That would be cool. I'd like that.
Wow. Yeah. Now I'm even more excited, and I was already the most excited about this.
Ariana brings up a good point. I wonder if the color palette is alluding to more of a jungle setting. Makes a ton of sense.
That was the rumor for a while. I mean, on the spec map, there we all like sort of deduced maybe rainforest or jungle type setting, and it seems like a lot of the insiders were thinking, jungle, type of thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up in that setting for at least part of the house.
Yeah. Jonathan, you might have the answer to this because I don't remember off the top of my head. I know it's been discussed, but which house was deemed as unknown original on the spec map?
We're gonna get to it very soon, but
was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure.
Because that would, to me, even where it's on the map, makes a lot of sense for this. I don't know why.
Oh, really?
I don't know why.
We'll get there.
My brain, my little HHN brain, it makes sense. We're getting there. Yeah. Monsters. Monstruos.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Twisted Thrill. D-Day is coming from the clues John Murdy gave us, specifically a World War II ship that took part in Normandy.
Murdy tweets. Murdy tweets. Sorry, there we go.
Came out.
You guys just got a live Murdy tweets for the first time. There you go.
Wow, what a moment we were all here for.
I forgot I forgot this wasn't a podcast for a second.
Let's see. There it is. Is this the first time Orlando is getting a Hollywood original? I'm pretty sure it is.
Kind of, sort of. Because
I mean, if you want to say La Llorona,
yeah,
but that was so. Yes, they were original.
Mm-hmm.
I fully think that they were meant to be hype for the films that were coming out and to fit into that. So I don't think it was like a, hey, La Llorona, let's do that. It was more like a, hey, La Llorona, it's a thing now. Like it's big films. So yes, I guess technically they have, but it was literally a completely different thing.
Yeah.
Not even similar.
Oh, but it's still
it's
coming from the same. That's my thing. These houses are going to be I hope night and day, but the source material is the same.
That's
and
true.
that is the La Llorona houses. Because they weren't the IP. They were kind of to help push it, but I don't know. That's just
this definitely seems more direct though, at least in terms of I don't know. I mean, I know the name Orlando had for La Llorona was a different name than Hollywood's ever had. This one's straight up the same exact name as the Hollywood original.
Yeah. But Scarecrow was the same name to Hollywood, and the houses were completely different. Scarecrow the Reaping, they were very different.
No, John Murdy's did it off the treatment. It looked different, obviously, the build, but it was built off the actual Scarecrow treatment. It was the same treatment. It was just different interpretation from John Murdy.
Oh, speaking of that real quick, John Murdy did tweet out because someone asked, hey, what's your involvement in this? And basically he said, I gave all the stuff to Orlando, all the stuff they would have needed for the project. And then that's it. It was just, here's all the stuff. And follow what you want to follow, take it your own way, basically whatever. So they have everything Hollywood has, and they can do whatever they want with it, basically.
Which is exactly how it worked for Scarecrow, I believe. Is kind of hey, here it is, do whatever you want. And he's like, I'll just do what this says. How about that?
Good idea, Murdy.
A question from Halls. What do you think about the most recent tweet from HHN? I think we will be getting another house announcement tomorrow. I don't expect it. No.
Probably not tomorrow.
No. I mean, if we want to talk this meaning something, Monday is the earliest, I'd say. Personally, I think we're at least an additional week away from an announcement after that. I don't think we're getting something next week. I could be very wrong.
Next week's a holiday week.
But
Monday's a holiday.
I'd say we got at least 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Till we get something again.
Which is still relatively close at the end of the day.
That's not far off at all.
Yeah. Considering we didn't get anything until June last year, right? Or something like that.
But if we're not counting Chucky,
I'm never counting Chucky.
June. And it was mid-June. Mid to late June.
If we have, I'm not going to say the whole event, but we have more than half of the event now, for the houses at least. So we're getting there.
So, shall we move on to what has been, maybe the most hated original announcement I've ever seen.
Please put the key
in my
art
time.
Up. Please.
Really? Ever?
Please.
Today's announcement.
Please.
And also, hilariously, this was rumored, and then for the past weeks, everyone's been like, oh no, it's not happening. We were wrong.
Mhm.
Yet here we are. Triplets of Terror exists.
Oh,
Fucking weirdos. Like, what the hell?
So
I'm obsessed with her. With the bang and the fucking pigtails.
yeah.
I'm not knocking anyone who makes key art.
No.
Anyone who designs it. This is not my favorite key art I've ever seen. I will say that it is clip arty.
So bad.
I don't like the word mark either.
No.
Whew.
Yeah.
Well, before we
I'm getting closer to my computer to try to look at the image.
let's see what they say about it.
I would rather not.
You're invited to the Barmy Triplets birthday bash. But beware, they celebrate by recreating their family's murders. Prepare for a gory gathering. So I do think, in general, that is a concept that could be a lot of fun. But then I just take a peek at that, and my hype kind of dwindles a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I hate that I just look at the key art and I'm like, wow. I'm sorry, I'm yelling now.
No, she's telling you what I don't know. The only one I can for sure call is that one with the pigtails. But Bunny Person is telling us to shh.
Yeah, I'm not happy that key art brings my opinion down and my hype down. But it does.
The
I mean, we only get the blurb and the key art. Like, there isn't even any press release. There's nothing on the website right now. So this is all we have to go off of for our opinions or like hype for this. And unfortunately, key art plays a major role at the end of the day, especially when you have this, you know.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah.
Before we fully go into what we think about this, let's go to some comments. I've heard people say possible Strangers IP backed out, or even FNAF, but I don't think so. Halls, again, I'm with you. I don't think that's what happened. Especially, I think when we're talking about like this looks like it was an IP. If we're getting an announcement in May, they've known about this for a while. It's not just going to be like a reskin of something like they've done with like The Purge taking over Scream or something like that. You know, like they have time to flesh it out to something completely different. If we're getting this announcement in late July, in August, then maybe you can say, oh, well, that looks a lot like something else. No, this is not just like a reskin of Strangers or anything else.
It's not Hellblock, yeah.
This is not Hellblock. This is intentionally this.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why they don't look like each other, but they're triplets. I'm not even talking about the mask. Like, I'm talking about the figures under the masks.
Why do they all have fully gray hair? How old are they?
Is that his chin?
I don't know.
I feel like I can't tell if the one with the axe is really like big. Like, he looks really big.
He looks big.
This key art is so hard to read to me. Like, I don't understand where one body ends and the other begins right now.
And then like the little one.
That's how bad it is.
There's just like a heart that they're holding. It's just kind of floating.
Okay.
Just kind of floating there. Right there.
Sure. Cool.
Yeah.
I understand that. I don't understand a lot.
Yeah. So, without talking any more about the key art that we're looking at.
No.
What do you think about the concept of the house?
It sounds like a Slaughter Sinema movie. Like, that would be in Slaughter Sinema.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The Triplets of Terror would absolutely be a movie.
Yeah, it could be, but I don't know. It's not like a...
Well, that's my thought. I don't.
This, to me, you know, like, I think it could be a fun idea, and the concept is cool. You know, like, there's 3 killers. They're going around. I think, Legacy has insinuated that, like, this is going to be we're just walking through a town, you know, in this type of environment. And, you know, we're just seeing kills, you know, unique types of kills with these killers. And it could be fun. I'm sure this is going to be, I mean, from the art, from the description, this looks more like a scary house. Like, this that purpose of this house is to scare the living shit out of you, at least, or be gory. That's sort of my what I'm gathering from it. But this stuff usually isn't completely my thing, so I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it right now. I'm still trying to gather my thoughts. Like, I had all day to gather my thoughts, and I still can't yet. I don't know where this goes, because part of me wants to put it like at the bottom of hype, but then a part of me is like, yeah, but this has a lot of potential. I don't know yet. I'm still thinking about that.
For me, the concept on its own is probably still like bottom half of hype for sure. But then you add in the key art. It's probably my least hyped original currently.
Yeah.
And again, like last year, Blood Moon, least hyped original, second favorite house of the year. Sometimes these things just in concept don't really click, and then you walk in it and you're like, holy shit. There are rumors that this is going to be the Blood Moon of the year in style of sets and scale. That it's just going to be this big, open, beautiful house. So that could change a lot. Like, you're just going around this town and there's a bunch of different unique murders and it's gory. Could be really cool. From what I'm reading and what I'm looking at, not hyped for it yet.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Yeah, I will say, like, I agree with you. The idea of it would probably be like middle of the pack for me, because I love a slasher, and I really do. That is like my favorite thing. So it's giving that. I did see some comments that I saw this could be the gore house, or could this be the gore house? I could see that with just what we know so far. If Goblins Feast is I need to realize that the house names are that simple that I just need to believe it is that word. I think it is.
Yeah.
If Goblins Feast is campy, this should not be campy, in my opinion. But if Goblins Feast is gory, we can make this goofy. And I feel like goofy slashers can sometimes work. I don't know how well at the event, but okay. I'm gonna be cautiously pessimistic about it, because again, it could be a sleeper. But this art is not my favorite, and I'm sorry if that is bad on whoever drew it. It's just not my favorite. It's really hard for me to read what is going on.
So while you were talking, I did just put a bunch of comments up on the screen of a lot of people saying, hey, I think this could be cool. Hey, sleeper hit. Yeah, definitely. I understand how this concept could click and work. Again, going back to the rumor of it being a very large scale, beautiful house, could be really cool.
Yeah.
Just at this moment, my hype levels are not as high as the other 5.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident in saying that right now.
Yeah. It's just also giving me House of a Thousand Corpses, like a little bit too. And I love that house. I don't love that movie. I've talked about that before. I also could see this kind of satisfying. I know that in version 2 of the Spec Map episode, I talked about like, oh, we're not getting a Bray Wyatt house for like WWE fans. I can kind of see this being like almost like the Wyatt family-esque, which I know means nothing to the two of you, but he has like a cult kind of a thing that he did, and he was a cult leader, and it was like a redneck cult. So this is kind of giving the family members of that.
Okay.
And it was like different genders and like little girls like Alexa Bliss and stuff like that. So I can kind of also I can see that. So I think that this could be interesting. And I know a lot of the people on the creative team are WWE fans. I'm not saying this is a WWE house. Obviously, this is an original, but to kind of get those layers in it, that maybe one day we can get a Fiend house, a Firefly family house. We're about to get the Wyatt Family 6 on WWE back. So anything's possible.
Yeah.
Trying to be optimistic.
There's your positivity. Look at that.
Yeah.
So why don't we look real quick before we go further at some art that we truly do enjoy with our shameless plug. Hey, we released an Oddfellow shirt line. As you can see, there's a standard black print. However, I'm mainly showing you this because that UV one that you're looking at, UV tie-dye, it is a special limited release that ends tonight at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. So if you would ever like this, we will probably never release it again in that style. 11:59 p.m. Eastern tonight is your last opportunity at hhn365.com. Just want to put that out there. Make sure everyone who wants this shirt can get it. So we do have one more house we'll go over. Once again, we talked about it last week, but it's part of all these 6 originals, so we might as well hop into Slaughter Sinema 2.
Woo.
So right from my bottom to what's probably my top hype,
Mhm.
how could you not be excited for Slaughter Sinema 2? If you were here for the first one, if you've heard anyone talk about the first one, it's just one of those originals that, you know how like sometimes like Wicked Growth or Graveyard Games, houses that we love, have people who are still like, how many people dislike Slaughter Sinema? Like everyone likes Slaughter Sinema.
Yeah.
I don't see a group of just people who are like, yeah, Slaughter Sinema. I don't know.
Do they exist? Like,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's like just one of those like all timers that like everyone thinks is great. Like it doesn't have its detractors. It's fun. It had scary elements. It just ticked all the boxes.
Yeah,
all the boxes.
Oh.
Absolutely.
I see. I can't believe we have all 6 originals
I know.
on May 24th.
Yeah.
What
kinda
world are we
wild.
living in? Yeah, like we have so much time to talk about this, to speculate about these houses. Like, I have not even processed the one from today. That's why it took me a while there to vocalize anything. But like, yeah, this is kind of crazy.
Yeah, usually it's just like, all right, originals announced, 2 weeks, the event's about to start. We're not even thinking about everything anymore. We're just like, we're getting ready for the event at that point. But now we're just chilling. We're just speculating. We can talk about these for months, which is very nice.
Yeah. I feel like I'm like, wow, did I forget to buy my frequent fear? Like, because normally when we get the originals, they're out.
Yeah, that means like, oh wait, do I have my tickets? Am I good?
Yeah.
Am I good? No, we still got a couple months before we even get that, probably. Month and a half or so. I want to see a cowboy made of spaghetti. That's a joke. However, that would be the campiest way to do a spaghetti western ever.
That'd be fantastic. I love that. That would fit perfectly for Slaughter Sinema.
Oh. No, I don't want it. Never mind.
I can't. No.
It's goofy enough for me that I would take it.
I'm good.
That horror guy says, since all the original house announcements, what ones are rumored to be in sprung tents?
I have the map. All right. So based off spec map version 2, we're only talking about tents. All right. Yes. We have Museum in tent 1. So that is where Darkest Steel would have been last year. We have Black and White is relating to Goblins, right?
Yes.
So Goblins Feast in tent 2, where Oddfellow was. Right now we have in tent 3, which is I don't know if we know which one's which right now, but the front tent of those 2 is Slaughter Sinema, and then the back one would be Insidious. I know you asked about originals, but that's the spec map right now for those 4 locations. Oh, but actually, talking about original locations, we did not talk about, but the unknown original is rumored to be in Fast and Furious this year still, based on the spec map. And that was Triplets
of Terror.
That makes sense to me. And I don't know why, because I can see if we're at a birthday party, but we're recreating murders, right? Is that what it is? We got to leave eventually to go to other places. Because did the murders happen at the party? Maybe it's like for part 1 is the party. And now we've left. I don't know. Like because you have to have a divide in there. And in an original, it doesn't make sense to me in Orlando. It's a very Hollywood thing. That's like a Parisian courtyard kind of a thing. So I don't know. That just makes sense to me, but also it's normally not right. Like you said on the spec map this early. So,
and I will say, if the rumors of what to expect at a scenic in that house are true, Fast and Furious does not fit whatsoever. Not at all.
No.
So here we go. Not a detract for the original, but the first time I've heard this. Ariana, what's going on? Why? Loved the original, but for some reason not that hype for round 2. Also not sure why. I don't know. I can't answer that for you. I'm very excited. I've said it a few times now on different podcasts and live stream and all that, but like I just think this is the perfect format to do a sequel because you don't have a specific story to follow. It's just a setting and just the concept. Outside of that, it could be literally just completely different inside. So you're not really super constrained to what you have to do.
Yeah.
But I respect everyone's opinion. I swear.
I understand them being nervous, especially if you really love the original. if they announced a Graveyard Games sequel, I would be very nervous. Because to me, that's like my perfect HHN house. So,
How do you feel about Hollywood potentially getting exclusive IP again this year? I mean, I expect it every year, to be honest, because they usually have more than 5 IPs, or they have at least 5.
That's their thing.
Or more. And we're going to have 5 or less. So I kind of always expect it regardless. I know if what the rumored one on the spec map is currently happens, there will be a lot of upset / happy people, actually. It's kind of a split. But in general, it's something I expect, so it doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
It's IPs are much more important there than they are here. So.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I don't like either of the rumored ones right now, though. So
let's see. There it is. I heard a rumor that Major Suites will be Fast and Furious,
that
which, to go back to that discussion, I think that also makes a lot of sense.
Industrial. Yeah.
It has the industrial feel already. I don't think you need anything super large scale to make that work outside of like a facade.
Yeah.
I think you want a cool factory facade. But outside of that, no, not really.
Yeah.
Let's see. There it is. Robbie, isn't the layout for Fast and Furious rumored to change? I believe that is the case. We've seen that they have not started the work inside the queue where they normally do by last year it was February. It's now almost June. And the tent has been shifted quite a bit compared to the previous 2 years. So it seems like there is going to be some sort of layout change within the Fast and Furious location.
That's exciting. So I will have no idea.
I think it's the spaghetti western thing that's throwing me off. That's what's exciting.
No, I kind of get that though, because I feel like that tonally can be kind of weird, especially if the other ones are so different. Sorry, Jonathan.
No, you're absolutely right. We're definitely moving. Seems like we're moving away from the types of movies the original Slaughter Cinema did. Like we're getting more broad. So I can totally understand it. Maybe that's not your vibe, and you just like you really connected with the more 80s B movies that the first Slaughter Cinema did. This one is absolutely taking seems like it's taking a different direction in terms of that. So that makes sense.
So we have 4 IP houses remaining, and you believe that it was already planned to have 4 IPs. Yeah. I think they went into the year talking about like quite a bit back, hoping to have 5, having IPs in mind that they wanted to acquire. And it's not even necessarily hey, someone backed out. It's just for whatever reason, discussions didn't come to fruition, whether that's financial, creative. There's so many reasons. Like there are so many IPs that they plan to potentially use, that they have discussions with, that we will never see and never hear about. Like it's not uncommon. And some of those years, they're just going to accept that if they don't land a couple of those, that they're just going to roll with 4 IPs instead.
Yeah, it's worked before in other years. It's not a bad model for Orlando specifically, because we love originals. That's our thing. Like everybody knows. Yeah, IPs bring the general people in, but Orlando's fandom is original based. So we are the ones that, if anything, we're going to get the original heavy event. So this makes sense to me, and I don't think we lost anything. I think that, like you said, it was very early on. I don't think we could even call it like we lost an IP.
Yeah, you can't lose it if you didn't have it.
Yeah. Right. So like maybe they did have every intention. You have to think about it when they sit down in these meetings. Like you have the original ideas, and then the IP thing is completely different, because you can't just throw shit at a wall and hope it sticks. You have to look at upcoming releases in the next year for everything now, even for streaming and for stuff like that. You have to look at any other IPs that might be being lost because a video game is being made or a re-release is coming out. There are so many factors, especially in those old slashers like Freddy. So I know that rumor was really heavy. I personally don't believe we ever had Freddy. I just think that they had every intention because it was an anniversary year. They probably tried, but Freddy's tied up right now. So I get where that's coming from. And obviously the first spec map was hinting at it, but sometimes things are put on the first version of the spec map just to be a red herring for something else intentionally.
Or because it was actually discussed and they wanted it to happen. But again, if they never acquired it, It can't
No.
be lost.
Yeah.
Like they want 5. Let's say they wanted 5 IPs this year. They're not going to come into the year saying these are our 5. We're going to be holders to get other IPs, and out of the 7 or 8 maybe they talk to, they want 5 of them. Sometimes they only get 4.
It's not like Scream getting turned into the
Exactly.
Like, that is a lost IP. I think that in the last couple of years, there's been like a gray area in like the lost. I personally would never consider Fear Street a lost IP. It was just a heavily rumored IP for HHN. I would call Scream a lost IP because it was actually built. So that's kind of where that gray area, I think we need to be like, okay, these are the differences.
We drag that out. Now that we have all the original houses, which would be the icon house if there is one?
Triplet.
I don't believe there's a direct icon house.
No.
If we have an icon, I think it's going to be more of an overarching icon, more of like a Lady Luck. Not the icon itself being like Lady Luck, but just kind of like the icon is just tied into everything rather than having this one thing.
Yeah. Agreed. It's Otis.
It's Otis.
It's
Obviously. Otis the Arch.
Otis Arch, or Arch, Otis.
Exactly.
Big fan. I'm a big fan of Otis.
Oh, this is a good point too. Seeing how they have to have the theme set a little earlier this year to do the behind the screams starting in early August now, you could see why they didn't stall and just went with 6 originals. Yeah, they can't. Everything has to be ready. There's no holding back. I mean, they only need 3 houses ready, but like,
but Blood Day can't be.
They're probably going to all be originals, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to show any of the IPs
You
during that early
Monsters?
period. Maybe Monsters.
I could see because Monsters is normally on the 3 house.
Yeah, that's true.
It has been. It's been wishy washy, but like before it had been on the 3 house. So I can see them throwing Monsters at the 3 house to appease the IP.
Yeah.
Even though it's hardly an IP, especially what's rumored this year.
All right, let's go off topic because I think these kind of questions are fun. I don't know if I have an answer, but what is your favorite Halloween Horror Nights moment? A single moment.
Just one?
Jonathan, I feel like you got something in mind probably, right?
I do, yeah. It's funny Yeti Lover asked this. My favorite moment is in HHN 29 taking my brother for the first time. And it was his first year and he went through Ghostbusters and he got very scared. Like he could not handle it. It was tough. And we were like, okay, that might be the only house he does during the night, and that's it. But then he was like, after like an hour or so of him like calming down, he's like, I'm doing Killer Clowns. And we're like, can you do Killer Clowns? He's like, yes, we're going in Killer Clowns. Like, okay. And then he went inside and he, started to get scared again. But all the air actors, instead of like scaring him, they kind of noticed that he was a little scared and a little anxious. So they all gave him like high fives and fist bumps instead. And then by the time he walked out, he was like, that was great. I love Halloween Horror Nights. And the rest of the night, he just did every house and was fine. He got scared, but the actual fear that was in the Ghostbusters house that he had, like the actual anxiety was gone. And so that is my favorite moment because that house like turned my brother into a Horror Nights fan, and watching that special moment happen in person was something really cool. So yeah, that's mine for sure.
Okay. So I'm going to kind of cheat because I don't think I have a specific moment. There's so many good moments, and I'm going to go for the feeling that I like the most. And that's not in a house. It's not necessarily in a scare zone. It's just kind of, there are times where you almost forget where you are. And it's just this comfortable feeling. You're just happy where you are.
You're home.
It doesn't matter. That's Horror Nights. It feels like home. You're with friends. You're having a drink. You're eating some good food, whatever it may be. Just those moments that it really feels, you feel comfort just by being there. It could be sitting at Finn's. It could be walking through an area that's not a scare zone. It doesn't matter. But like there's just these stretches sometimes where just like you're enjoying it so much. You don't really realize where you are, why you're here, what's going on. But it's like your comfort. That is your place. So that's my cheating answer.
Wow.
It's a good answer.
That's like so heartwarming. Like
Thank you.
Wow. Can I cheat and give 2? I have like a funny no, they're both sentimental. I got engaged and married at HHN. Like that's one. Like both of them in the same year at 31. Like no, 30 at 30. Oh my God. At 30. Yeah, at 30. Oh my god. So that is like in itself, Jack the fucking clown married us. Like that will, as an HHN fan, forever be really fucking cool and like a top moment. But also, so like a night later was closing night, and obviously we had icons there, and that's the first time I had seen all these icons, and they mean the world to me because they're the reason I love HHN. And me and Mary specifically were walking through the house on the final run, applauding everybody. And the demon Elsa, I've told this story before. We always had a moment where I would come to the crowd and go, Elsa! And she would like do her thing. And she reached down and hugged all three of us. And we all started sobbing together. And we thanked each other for the screams. It was like genuinely one of my favorite moments, because it was like both of us just thanking each other for a great season. And that's like my favorite part of closing night, is thanking the scare actors.
Getting to just walk around and clap.
Yeah, and like someone you don't know,
so
just being so grateful, like for you cheering that. I'm like, no, thank you. I pay to be here. Like
all they give us in the season.
Yeah, great. I'm getting chills thinking about that moment. We were sobbing afterwards because it was so crazy.
Wow, 30 is such a special year.
Wow.
All right, moving on to something more timely. Do y'all think they'll restrict photography in the Behind the Screams tours that start before September? So I will say I don't think they're going to say no photos, because they didn't list that. And if people buy Unmasking the Horror, they expect to be able to take photos. So I could see a couple options happening if they limit it all.
Yeah.
A, limit specific scenes. Like
they already do.
I'm saying that during the season will be available.
Okay.
They'll pull for at least those couple weeks.
Big reveals.
2, they will tell them they can't post them publicly until August 30th.
Then how do you have a repercussion for posting?
You don't, but I mean, that happens all the time. There's so many scenarios where it's like, you can't post this till blank. It doesn't actually stop people.
No.
But I don't think they can say no photography, because they would have had to say that beforehand, because people paid full price for this experience.
Yep. Completely agree.
And it's fully expected that you get to take photos.
Yeah. You'd have a lot of people at guest relations being very upset.
You'd probably be giving refunds, to be honest.
It would be Taste of Terror 2.0, with everyone being so upset with how the event was run.
Yeah. Would you say RIP is still worth it, even though you still have to pay for admission? So I think I speak for all of us when I say we've only actually done the real RIP in Hollywood, which you don't have to pay for admission, and is great. We do it every year now. In Orlando, I personally have only done the media version, which, while you get some aspects of real RIP, it's a lot more rushed, and
you don't have a say in your night. And
it's very different than the actual RIP.
It's still great. We're not knocking that.
It's great experience. We love it when we get it, but
it's not RIP.
So I don't know that I can fully say whether the value is there. I will say that the people I know who do it love it, spend that money every year, and especially if you're only going for a night or even a few nights, it's a great way to experience the event. Make sure you do everything you want as many times as you want, pretty much. So yeah, take it into consideration how expensive that is, but the people I know who do it typically love it.
Yeah. I do know most people do, because private, you can have a group and it's much cheaper if you fill the group up. So a lot of people will like get together and do that with other friend groups and stuff like that to make it cheaper. Because also, if you do a private, you have a say in your night. You don't in a public RIP tour. There's kind of like a set thing. And then if you want to like redo a house in a public, I know that everyone kind of has to vote on it. It's not like or I think they have to get you through all 10. And then if you have time, then you get an express, but I don't think it's unlimited like Hollywood does.
No.
So, and then in Hollywood, there's a separate line for RIP when you're not with your tour guide anymore. Yeah. It's not express and RIP. It is a third line completely. So like, I agree with what John's saying. It's kind of shocking that Hollywood has more perks.
For cheaper.
Yeah, and you also get the tram, and in the tram they have the chest of water always. We can leave our stuff on the tram, and somebody's watching it while we go in houses.
A full meal for you.
Oh my god! And it's not
just like
bad
appetizers or snacks like like in Orlando they do have bigger things, but it's not really a full.
It's like light bites, appetizers and shit.
This is a full like dinner buffet they do in Hollywood. You get your own tram on the Terror tram. you again, the biggest perk for me is it's a 4-hour experience, right? 4 hours. And then after that, you just get to keep using that line.
Yeah.
Not standby, not express, the special RIP line where we've never waited behind anybody. You walk up, they stop every other line, and you walk in.
Yeah, literally sometimes there us be going, wait, we have to get our camera set up. You can wait. And we're like waiting. That is not something you get in Orlando. When you're not with your guide, you are in the express line. And that sometimes can be 30, 45 minutes for something like The Last of Us last year. So I think it's worth it out in Hollywood 100%. I don't know about out here.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever do it.
Yeah. We're not in a scenario where we need to.
Yeah.
We go every night regardless. We have express. Like, if I didn't go as often, maybe a night of RIP would be cool. But I spend so much money to go every night that why spend more? I'm gonna spend my money on other haunts at that point.
Oh, that's a good point. There's also the special experience in Hollywood.
Oh yeah.
So, and it was an extra little house. Yeah. So
it was terrifying. They put all the actors in that little house, and
I miss you, Lawrence.
We were all destroyed in there. We had that experience. We got to take a picture with the grabber.
Yeah.
Like there was even more.
It was like
than
a
just the one
full.
thing.
Yeah, you got a whole nother experience after your special experience.
Yeah.
It was
Duff got to be the child.
Johnny.
I forgot his name.
Johnny. That footage is lost forever.
I don't want to talk about it. It hurts every time I think about it.
A lot of comments about how good the Hollywood RIP is. I think honestly, that is like the best thing about Hollywood's event in general is how good their RIP is and how good of a value it is. When you compare it to some of the other tickets, it's the obvious choice.
Yeah.
I think. All right. So, let's answer that question real quick. It wasn't an additional house. It was like a small maze added on to the end of the Terror Tram.
Yeah.
That only RIP guests got to walk through.
Yeah. And it was like some of the best face-to-face with Larry Larva.
Yeah. There was a lot of it.
In the whole experience.
There was a lot of it.
And it was just off to the side as you were kind of done with the War of the Worlds part.
Yep.
I wouldn't call it a full house. No. We do exaggerate a little bit there, but it'd
be 60 seconds, if that. Yeah. That might be generous.
But it was such a cool, just additional thing to have, for sure. All right, so I think we kind of covered everything we need to today. So if there's anything you guys want to discuss before we wrap up, which we're going to start doing now, please put those in the comments. We'll get to them for you. If there's anything we missed earlier, I'm sorry, I'm trying to keep up, but feel free to put it back in. I'll get to it now. But before we get to any of that, right now, are you happy with what we have for an event in Orlando, that original lineup?
I mean, we have 6 original houses announced May 24th. I'm happy regardless of what the houses are.
All right.
Like, I am that type of a person that I'm just happy that I don't have to hear everyone bitch about where the fucking announcements. Everyone needs to shut up for a couple weeks. Give these social media PR people a fucking break. Like, I feel so bad for them. But like, I am legitimately excited. We have Slaughter Sinema 2. Like, that in its own. Cool. I'm great. I'm happy. Museum? Are you fucking kidding me? And Monstruos. Like, the other 2 are cool too. Or 3? Whatever, fuck it. There's a lot of fucking houses to talk about already, and I need to process it. So I need a couple days too.
It is how funny we transition from people who are like, oh, we never get announcements early enough anymore, to like, oh, we might be doing it too quick now. We're not going to have anything to talk about all summer. Like, wait, slow down.
Let Hollywood do something. Let Knott's announce something. Like, someone in the West Coast give me dates so I can plan our trip. Like, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like this like lineup we have right now for originals. I mean, to be honest, all we needed was Slaughter Sinema 2, like Jess said. Like, that's it. And I'll be like, all right, I'm happy. I'm good. But like all the other options, I'm still really excited for. I mean, Sweet Revenge, or not Sweet Revenge, Major Sweets Candy Factory. I'm really excited for that. Goblins, I think, has a lot of potential. Museum has a lot of potential. Excited to see Monstruos and you know, optimistic about Triplets. I think it can be something pretty cool once we actually see it. I think this is a great lineup, and I'm happy that we have 6 originals and we don't have a hell block. Like, we don't have to like balance it like, oh, we're getting 6 originals, but one of those was made in like 2 months and was really didn't have all the, you know, time put into it because they couldn't. It looks like, no, we have 6 originals and all of them are fleshed out. And I really am excited about that. So yeah, I'm liking this lineup so far.
I mean, to be honest, for me, you could have stopped with 6 originals.
Yeah.
Like, I always prefer an original every year if I can
Mhm.
get it. I think, especially on the top half of these, phenomenal, like super hype. But again, even the bottom ones, I can see, especially with some of the rumors coming out, where they can just come out of nowhere and be the house of the year potentially. You know,
Mhm.
so we get original heavy year. We have some really good looking ones. We know it in May. I cannot complain. I'm very happy. I don't need to hear anything for like 2 months. I say that now, but in like 3 weeks, I'm like, oh, you know, if we
Yeah.
could just get like Ghostbusters now. Or
I'm like,
something.
2 months is July, and that's the month before the event. Calm down. We need something. We still have scare zones. We still have IPs. We still have show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said shows.
That'd be fun if they did the scare zones like just one every day, like they did the originals. That'd be cool
Oh,
instead of just
yeah.
dumping them all.
We don't get a sentence. We just get a word. We get a vibe. We get a feeling.
Blue.
Experience.
Blue.
Blue.
My favorite is, I didn't point this out, but in every description, Tix was not always capitalized. They kept going back and forth.
Oh.
And it was really bothering me.
No, I'm happy I didn't notice that.
It was
That would've
every
bothered
time
me.
you would put a slide up, I would notice if something was capitalized or not.
Great question, Halls. Does Orlando get the 22-inch
This is
hot dog?
serious journalism.
No.
Is that not the Kong dog over at the? Oh, is this an HHN
I think
thing?
HHN.
Oh,
So we have it on property.
I'm pretty sure there's a massive
Yeah.
hot dog at King
But
Kong.
Hollywood specifically for HHN
I
does
didn't
the
know that.
special, the big dog, which we don't do at HHN.
I got that dog in
Yeah.
me. That's the
22 inches
dog
of
that's in me. I didn't know that was a thing. I at least need to see. I don't need to see the hot dog this year, but I need to see the stand that sells the hot dog, or the area, the restaurant, whatever.
It's.
Mm.
I know Texas had like when that booth, like when Texas Chainsaw was there.
I was
that
like,
the booth
Texas
that
has
had it.
never had an HHN event.
No.
Jonathan. You're crazy. It's like Texas isn't even open yet.
This might be the first year in a while where another spec map doesn't have to be made.
I mean,
It's true.
yeah.
I get the sense they're still going to stick it out just to be like, look at everything's fully correct. Look
Yeah.
at this fully perfect
Let's see a
spec map before all the IPs come
A
out.
third version, probably
yeah.
before middle, early June, I would assume. We don't know anything about that, but
But knowing all the originals does hurt the spec maps, like getting more of them, like at the end of the day. Like I think we only get 1 or 2 more now that
Mhm.
all of the most unknown things have become known in a week.
yeah. Well, the also the most unknown on the maps are usually the zones too. So
That too.
I was very strong on only 1, but I do kind of agree with you, Jonathan. I think we could get 2 because I think we'll get 1 for the IPs with maybe a zone or 2,
Mhm.
and then a 4th one with the zones and the shows
That makes sense.
before those get announced.
We're talking the real stuff now. Does
Yeah.
anyone else want Jello shots back?
No, because I normally consume my shots in pickleback form
Mm.
from only a certain number of bartenders at Finn's who know the order, and as they see our group of friends start getting the shot glasses out on the counter.
Do you know how embarrassing it is to walk up to Finn's by yourself
Oh, I know.
and it's packed and a
Mhm.
bartender's like, "Oh, pickleback," and everyone's just like,
I'm taking shots by yourself, you fucking weirdo.
"I'm like, no,
Just
not now,
Just a beer,
just when
please."
it's the group, please." But also give me a pickleback.
Yeah, we always have picklebacks. But I think it'd be fun for like the gimmick, but also
Yeah. I think it's more just a fun thing. Personally, I'm not really gonna buy. I'll buy one to have the
have it.
bag. It's like a souvenir.
yeah.
But I think it's a cool, fun concept that people really enjoyed. So yeah, I think it would be cool to bring back. I personally will not be partaking in many of them.
Hollow Scream has them if you really want them.
Yeah.
They're mixed
Yeah.
with Monster. Well, I guess ours were too, so I guess that doesn't matter.
I just hope Hollywood breaks the Z Scare Zone cursed. Ghost was sad last year.
That's not its name. It's Ghost Dolls Toys. I still, that zone, man. Whatever. I will never forget like our last couple minutes, and we're both trying to get footage. And I just gave up after a little bit because I could not tell you what I was filming
No.
and what zone I was in, what the concept was. some were ghosts, some were dolls, some were toys, and I've learned that was not the name of the zone. So.
I did get some of my best shots in there because of the still walkers, though.
Well, the crows were in there
Well,
too. That was
the toy ones.
Oh, I know, but also I was filming the crows.
But the crows,
the crows and the bear were dancing. I remember that. I think I have I think I might have a video on my phone of the crow dancing with the bear. That's not lost footage.
I know John already hinted at least one zone won't have a Z this year, at least currently. So that's
I hope
good.
it has X's.
Oh, that's what we need.
We need the X's back. Oh, I hope it's dead exposure.
Oh my god.
No.
You're welcome.
I mean, we were talking about that icon on the map meaning
Yeah.
toxic tunnel.
Yeah.
What if it was just dead
Exposure.
exposure?
It's possible.
And a Quonset hut.
See, Ariana, as a Hollywood local, I understand your take that you want Z's and X's banned.
But we love it.
But in Orlando, it's just the funniest thing that's just like what
It's
that's
goofy.
what you do. Yeah, look, it's the Z. We're
It's
hip.
so goofy.
We're cool.
Yeah, it's giving very hello, fellow kids. My name's John Murdy.
Like Toxic Tunnel is legitimately one of the weaker experiences ever at Horror Nights for me. But I wanted it to survive so we could see like 20 X's one day.
Oh, I really was hoping.
That's all I wanted.
That's one of my biggest regrets is I never got to see the toxic tunnel.
I'm gonna put this up and take it off quick because I don't know how YouTube monitors stuff. But yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we don't mean to make fun of you. It's just
I'm not making fun of
it's
you.
so not you, Hollywood.
No, I'm making fun of Murdy.
Okay.
No, it's Murdy.
All right.
I blame everything on John. I'm telling you, if I ever get a face-to-face with this man, it's over. I'll be honest with him. I'll be like, do you want to critique? Because I have a few. I take out my notebook.
Oh
I'm
my
just
god.
like,
Just
Jonathan.
a whole binder. Just
Also, do you want to hear my theme song for you?
oh my god.
I would do it.
So we are ending this stream on a high note. We have made everyone depressed, clearly.
Oh, this is like last
Sorry,
time where
Jacob.
I got all too serious.
And I don't think we have anything to actually fix this time, unlike last time. So, yeah, with that said,
We have 6 houses announced for HHN Orlando. There you go.
Yep.
6 houses.
You're the one who's continuing now, not me.
All right. Well, with that said, we will definitely be back. If there's any big news that comes out, an announcement mainly being the one. If that takes a while, we'll be back anyways, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm really enjoying these live streams.
Yeah.
It's only our 3rd one ever. They're a lot of fun. I think the engagement, like the way we get to engage with people and chat with them is just so much different than anything else we do. So
yeah,
we will be back soon. Don't
Yeah.
worry. We'll be back, hopefully, with another announcement.
Yeah.
Maybe for Hollywood, help you guys out a bit.
Yeah.
We have a lot of Hollywood locals in our live stream, so we'd like to be able to chat that with you and help you out.
We appreciate you being here, though.
Yeah,
on the
definitely.
live stream.
Definitely. So as I said before, I'm going to pull it up one more time. More shameless plugging. It's not shameless. It's on
No.
stream. Last night, you can buy the special edition of our Oddfellow UV reflective tie-dye shirt.
3 hours.
11:59 p.m. Eastern. After that, it's
21
gone
minutes.
probably forever. So if you want to grab that, go order that at hhn365.com. Check us out on social media. It's at HHN365 everywhere except TikTok, where it's HHN365pod. Obviously, we've been covering all these announcements in depth, and we have a lot more coming. And then our podcast. You can find it anywhere you listen to podcasts. If you didn't know, that's what we mainly are. That's where we started. We're just putting our faces out there finally. Other than that, any last thoughts about what we discussed all night?
No, just get the Oddfellow shirt. I'm very excited to tie-dye all of these by hand. I like genuinely am. They're actually really
It
fun to
should be
do
fun.
because the neon dye is so bright.
And it's only one batch this time, too.
It'll be so nice. That's like, just to let's peel the curtain back a little bit. That's why these shirts are on a pre-order, because well, I mean it. I am hand tie-dyeing with both colors. Like, this is a process. So like, to make it the most economical for everyone and to make me not want to pull my hair out. Not saying the guys don't offer to help. I'm just saying it's easier for me. I'm a control freak when it comes to certain things, and respectfully, I think I'm the better tie-dyer in the group because I've done all the products so far. So yeah, it please be patient with us. It's probably going to take, if you have ordered one, I think we said 2 to 3 weeks from tonight.
Yeah. We will put in the order
This
like at
weekend.
midnight.
Yeah.
Like this, at least this weekend,
Yeah.
to have them shipped to us, and then
I just
just have
have
to
it
get them dyed and shipped out to you guys. So
So give us a couple weeks, but thank you if you have bought it. We also have a Slaughter Cinema shirt. if you are interested.
Yep.
So go check that out on the website.
Our
But
first shirt ever, actually.
yeah, and maybe another one coming this year. I don't know.
Maybe.
Possibly.
Maybe.
It's a big maybe.
All
but-
right, you're hinting too much. We gotta get out of here. We're running away.
Oh well, we gotta go watch a hockey game.
We gotta watch hockey.
Yeah.
Go Cats. All right, see you later,
Thank
guys.
you.
We'll be back
Bye.
eventually.
Bye.